Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our English learning podcast. Today, Mark and I are going to talk about school life. School is a big part of our daily routine, and we all have many stories about our classrooms, teachers, and friends. So let's explore some fun and simple conversations in English about being at school.
Hi, Anna. Yes, I really like this topic. When we think about school, we remember waking up early, carrying our school bags, and sometimes running to class because we were late. It is a place where we learn many things, but also where we laugh, play, and grow up together with friends.
Exactly. I remember when I was a student. I always enjoyed the morning time when I entered the classroom. The sound of students talking, the teacher writing on the board, and the smell of books always gave me energy. For me, school was not only about learning but also about spending time with people I liked.
That's true. I remember standing in line at the school gate every morning. Sometimes I was sleepy, sometimes excited, but I always knew the day would bring something interesting. Even a simple lesson could be fun if the teacher told jokes or asked us to join in small games.
One of my favorite memories is from the playground. During breaks, I loved playing games like hide and seek, or just walking around and talking with friends. The playground was a place where everyone felt free, away from books and lessons.
Yes, for me, the playground was also important. I often played football with my classmates, and sometimes we argued about the score. But at the end, we always laughed together. Those little games taught us about teamwork, patience, and friendship.
Do you remember the school cafeteria, Mark? I always looked forward to lunchtime because it was like a break for the brain. Sometimes I ate sandwiches, sometimes soup, but I always enjoyed sitting with my friends and talking about funny things.
Yes, the cafeteria was like a small social world inside the school. I remember sometimes we shared food. Sometimes we traded snacks like, I give you my apple, you give me your cookie. It was not only about food, but also about learning to share and be kind to others.
Another important part of school life is the classroom itself. I remember the big blackboard, the desks, and the maps on the walls. The classroom felt like a second home where we spent so many hours every day.
Yes, the classroom had a special atmosphere.
I remember teachers writing long sentences on the board. And sometimes my hand hurt because of all the notes I had to take. But at the same time, it was a place where we asked questions, discovered new ideas, and sometimes even made small jokes with our friends. Homework was not always easy, right? I sometimes struggled to finish my math exercises or write long essays. But doing homework taught me responsibility. It showed me that learning is not only in the classroom but also at home.
True. I remember evenings when I sat at my desk with my books open, feeling tired but proud when I finished my homework. Sometimes I asked my parents for help, and sometimes I worked together with my friends. Homework was difficult, but it helped us become stronger students.
One of the most exciting moments at school was when the teacher said, "Today we will have a quiz." At first, everyone became quiet, and you could hear the sound of pencils moving quickly. Tests were stressful, but they were also a chance to show what we had learned.
Yes, I always felt nervous before exams, but after writing the answers, I felt lighter. Sometimes I did well, sometimes not so well. But exams taught me how to prepare and try again. It was a lesson not only in knowledge, but also in life. You don't always win, but you always learn.
I also remember school trips. Once a year, we visited museums, parks, or historical places with our teachers. Those days were exciting because we could learn outside the classroom and spend time together in a different environment.
Oh, yes, school trips were the best. I remember going to a science museum where we touched experiments and watched amazing demonstrations. It made me feel like science was not just in books, but alive in the real world.
In the end, school is not only about studying subjects like math, history, or English. It is about learning how to work together, respect teachers, and build friendships that sometimes last a lifetime. Even now, when I think about school, I feel happy and grateful.
I agree, Anna. School is like a foundation for our future. We may forget some lessons or some details, but we never forget the people, the moments, and the feelings we had. That's why talking about school always makes me smile.
So, dear listeners, what about you? What are your favorite school memories? Do you remember your classroom, your teachers, or your best friends? Think about it and maybe share it with someone in English to practice your language.
Yes, try to use simple sentences like, I go to school by bus, or I like my English class. Talking about school is a great way to practice daily English because it is something we all know and understand. So don't be shy, practice a little every day.
That's all for today's episode of the English Learning Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our talk about school life. Thank you for listening and see you next time with another interesting topic.